Part 46. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shiyubuletin Chigwa. Chapter 453. Chapter 451. I agree to your unreasonable request. Royal Garden. Queen Yongye, who was wearing a black and gold dragon robe, was a little stunned and looked at Shen Jian with an inexplicable expression. I suspect I heard it wrong. The little man in front of her helped her solve such a big trouble in the court, and he was also a popular palm eunuch. His power position was lower than that of one person in Yanjai Kingdom, but higher than that of 10,000 people. In fact, even she, the emperor, has less say than the other party. Before Shen Jian came over, she was still a little worried. After all, she is just a puppet emperor. She was worried that she would not be able to give a generous reward, thus pushing the other party to oppose her. However, she did not expect that what Shen Jian wanted was so simple. A good while. Queen Yanjai pursed her lips and said, Do you believe Prime Minister Zhou's words and think that I am a girl, so you are testing me? Shen Jian's eyes moved strangely. Think about it. Your Majesty, the Queen Mother has told me everything. Queen Evernight was startled. His eyes became more suspicious. A neutral and delicate face stared straight at Shen Jian, exuding a sense of majesty, but soon, this temperament dissipated, revealing a touch of bitterness. I see. It seems that Iking is really favored by the Queen. She doesn't even hide such royal secrets. I was still thinking that there was something wrong with Iking's reaction this morning. It seemed that she didn't doubt me at all. Is she a girl? Speaking of which, the Queen of Evernight also understood something. She pursed her lips and said, Since you already know that I am a girl, you should know that men and women cannot be intimate. What's more, you are a minister and I am the emperor. This is absolutely forbidden. See this. Shen Jian was not surprised either. His face was not red, his heart was not beating, and he said, Your Majesty, I am a eunuch, you don't have anything to worry about. Furthermore, Your Majesty has disguised herself as a man for 10 years, and the Queen Mother is busy with government affairs. She doesn't even have a trustworthy wet nurse around her. She has to avoid others when bathing, let alone being served by others. Unfortunately, I am the third person in Yanjai Kingdom. Someone who knows His Majesty's identity can definitely do it for you. Finished. Shen Jian glanced at the Queen of Evernight quietly. Queen of Evernight. Level, Abyss level. Introduction, the only female emperor in the history of Yanjai Kingdom, she disguised herself as a man at a young age and ascended the throne as emperor. She vowed to lead Yanjai Kingdom to prosperity, achieve great achievements, let the world abandon prejudice, and officially restore her female body. Current status, contradiction, choice, shyness. Favorability, 50, familiar. Looking at the favorability panel, Shen Jian looked strange. This was not the first time he had met the Queen of Evernight, but this 50-point favorable impression still surprised him. It seems. Everything that happened in the court left a deep impression on the Empress. In this case, he will be more confident. I am not afraid that the Empress will not agree. Seeing Queen Yanjai's troubled look, Shen Jian continued, Of course, if Your Majesty doesn't trust me, then I have nothing to say. If you want to serve the Empress to bathe and change clothes, you can't be too eager. If he acted impatiently, it would make Queen Evernight think that he was using his power to force her, which would probably arouse her resistance. On the contrary, this way of speaking in a reserved manner is soothing and silent. Really? Just for a moment. Queen Yongye subconsciously said, Of course I believe in your love, but... Her tone was shy and a little at a loss. Even though Shen Jian is an eunuch, he is still a man. Even before she ascended the throne, she was served by wet nurses and maids. There was no reason for men to serve her. but she had to take Shen Jian's words seriously. She was unwilling to let go of such a loyal minister whose strength far surpassed that of the top Ghost King level ghosts. Then, the Queen of Evernight seemed to have made up her mind. Since ascending the throne, no one can serve me to bathe. Now, I allow you to serve me. In just a few words, his voice became quieter and quieter as he spoke, until finally he was as thin as a mosquito. Shen Jian glanced over. I saw that the Empress's face was already red to the roots of her ears. His eyes were strange, and there was a hint of expectation on his face. Before entering the dungeon, he saw the true beauty of Queen Eternal Night, which captivated the 6 nations. Now, he could finally watch it again. There is even a chance to touch the dragon body. Think of this. Invisible ripples also appeared in Shen Jian's heart. The Queen of Evernight took a look. I felt ashamed and annoyed in my heart. My beloved was already a eunuch, but she didn't seem too serious. She yelled, "Don't think blindly. If anyone else had made such a request, I would have chopped off his head long ago. The courtiers outside don't pay attention to me, and the Queen Mother neglects me. If you even tease me, then I will be a failure." The Queen of Evernight was extremely ashamed and angry. I can't help myself at the moment. Tears suddenly welled up in his eyes. See this. Shen Jian stepped forward. Subconsciously, he reached out and touched the face of the Empress, and gently wiped away the tears that overflowed from her eyes. "Your Majesty, I will always be by your side." As soon as these words came out, Queen Evernight was suddenly confused. It wasn't because of Shen Jian's ambiguous words, but because of the other party's bold move. She suddenly realized that they didn't look like a monarch and a minister now. It was clearly the woman telling her lover about the pain of lovesickness, while the lover was caressing the woman with a loving look on his face. I am afraid that anyone who sees the scene will have misunderstandings. Think of this. The Queen of Evernight woke up immediately. His cheeks turned red and he stood up in a panic. "My dear, what are you doing? I miss you unintentionally and will not punish you for your crime, but if you do it again next time, I will not show mercy. Say it." Queen Yanjai left the imperial garden as if she had fled. "Your Majesty, what about bathing? I will let someone notify you when the time comes." Shen Jian was speechless. If you were so shy just after touching your face, wouldn't you be embarrassed to death after taking a shower? Think of this. Shen Jian shook his head. In the eyes of outsiders, the emperor, who has ascended to the 9th level, is now not much different from a little girl. Compared with the phoenix-robed female ghost who came to the world, she was still too immature. But it is precisely because of this that the strategy is possible. He was looking forward to the moment when he would sleep on the dragon bed. Leave the royal garden. Shen Jian rushed non-stop to the Sinning Palace where the Queen Mother was. At the same time, the players in the chat interface also recovered from their shock. Now, they have learned everything that happened in the court from the supernatural props. Although they couldn't believe it in their hearts, the facts were right in front of them. No matter how absurd they were, they could only believe it. I believe that a supergiant appears in this 5-star copy. Compared with Shen Jian, the so-called top 10 ghost masters in the supernatural circle are not even qualified to be tied with each other. While they were still working hard for tomorrow's survival, Shen Jian was already in power and had so much power that even the most powerful Prime Minister Zhou in the court was pulled down and ended up in a desperate situation. If the palace wasn't heavily guarded, they would have really wanted to go directly to Sinning Palace to hug their thighs. At this time, Ye Feng, one of the top 10 ghost masters in the supernatural circle, was the first to notice something was wrong. "Ye Feng, something is wrong according to our speculation. The reason why Yanjai Kingdom was destroyed had a lot to do with Prime Minister Zhou. Now that he is dead and Prime Minister Right General Shui has returned to the court, the crisis should be resolved, but there is still no sign of completion of the main mission." As soon as these words came out, all players are alert. I checked the main mission, but there was still no response to completing the mission. Excluding the possibility that the horror game deliberately deceives players, there is only one answer left: Prime Minister Zo is not the truth that caused the destruction of the kingdom of Evernight. Thinking of this, everyone felt a layer of gloom in their hearts. If even the powerful Prime Minister is not the real culprit, then how terrifying is the man behind the destruction of the Eternal Night Kingdom? Is this really just a 5-star copy? Yefeng, since he is not the Prime Minister, there is only one answer left: the prince with a different surname who guards the border, Prince Huai. Xiao He, are you saying that King Huai, who is far away from Yanjai Kingdom, also plans to rebel? Yefeng, apart from this, I can't think of other possibilities. Looking at the panel, the players were silent. Indeed, there are only 4 top ghost kings in Yanjai Kingdom. The Prime Minister has no chance, so the biggest possibility is the prince who supports his troops and respects himself. Xiao He, it's over. As far as I know, this King Huai's prestige at the border is greater than that of the royal family, and the soldiers under his command only obey the orders of King Huai. If this King Huai also has the intention to rebel, then what will happen now? The Kingdom of Night has no ability to resist at all, and the charge of thousands of fierce ghosts is beyond our ability to withstand. Xiao He, even that person, I'm afraid he can't stop thousands of troops. That person, of course, refers to Shen Jian. Everyone understands this. If thousands of fierce ghosts launched a war, how could one person be able to withstand the power they would bring? Even if there is a blood general at the top Ghost King level, he still has to avoid the edge for a while. Desperate situation. This 5-star copy is simply a desperate situation. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the King of Hell of the 10th Palace. Author, Shi Buletin Chi Gua. Chapter 454. This moment. Everyone was silent. I thought it was another village with a bright future, but unexpectedly it turned out to be another desperate situation. If the attack on the city by the ghost infants planned by Prime Minister Zhou was enough to shake the rule of the royal family of the Yanjai Kingdom, then King Huai's intention to rebel was enough to push the entire Yanjai Kingdom into a place of eternal destruction. The two are not the same concept at all. That was a war started by thousands of fierce ghosts. If placed in the real world, it would no longer be a city-destroying crisis, but a country-destroying crisis, or even, a world-destroying crisis. It is an SSS-level supernatural event that has never existed in the legend. The thought of this. The hopes originally raised by the players were once again frustrated. His face turned pale. A faint despair permeated the player community. No one spoke. The other side. Shen Jian looked at everything on the panel and remained unmoved. Compared with what he knew, the player's intelligence was undoubtedly lagging behind by a stage. It was only at this moment that he realized that the real crisis in the Eternal Night Kingdom did not come from a single top ghost king. But all of them are evil people. Shen Jian narrowed his eyes. Something suddenly occurred to me. The Kingdom of Evernight has 4 top ghost kings. Among them, General Shui, the right Prime Minister, has surrendered to him. Prime Minister Zhou and the ghost boys trained under his command were all on the verge of death. The only remaining threat was from King Huai at the border. But through the chat interface, Shen Jian remembered the last top ghost king force in Yanjai Kingdom. That's royalty. The royal family of Yanjai Kingdom also has a top ghost king. Since 3 of the 4 top ghost kings have evil intentions, he does not believe that the top ghost king worshipped by the royal family will continue to watch quietly. Thinking of harvesting another top ghost king, Shen Jian showed a satisfied smile on his face. If all 5-star dungeons were like this, then how difficult would it be to unlock the 18 levels of hell? Feeling emotional. Shen Jian has arrived at Sinning Palace. The surrounding guards and maids were already accustomed to Shen Jian's coming and going, and their tone of voice was meant to please. In their view, this eunuch chief was a popular person around the Queen Mother and was deeply loved by the Queen Mother. Not only did he hold the Queen Mother's waist card, but he also played in and out of Sinning Palace. It is said that the chief eunuch even stayed at Sinning Palace. It is very likely that he has climbed onto the phoenix couch and become the Queen Mother's pillow. If they were targeted by this master, no one in the entire palace could save them. For a while, even the guards guarding the Queen Mother's palace respectfully addressed him as Mr. Shen with a look of fawning on their faces. Enter the inner sanctum. Shen Jian saw Queen Mother Zhuang sitting on the dressing table. There was no reaction to his arrival. It's like I didn't see it. Shen Jian was stunned for a moment. Queen Mother, I'm back. Oh. Empress Dowager Zhuang opened her red lips lightly and replied indifferently. Shen Jian? His eyes moved. Empress Dowager Zhuang Su of Yanjai Kingdom. Current status, unhappy, angry, aggrieved. Favorability, 88, intimate. The favorability has not decreased, it has even increased. But the Queen Mother's current state is full of negative emotions. At this time, Empress Dowager Zhuang said abruptly, "You are back from the Emperor? Judging from your appearance, you already know that the Emperor is a daughter, right?" Shen Jian nodded. Humph, what? My good princess attracts your attention more than me? Will you miss me until the first thing you do in the next court is to rush to the imperial garden? Hear this. Shen Jian was startled. Then react. Strange eyes. If he is not mistaken, is the Queen Mother jealous of the Queen of Evernight? Do you think he didn't come to greet her immediately? Ah, this. Wake up, you are the Queen Mother in charge of the Eternal Night Kingdom, truly a being above all 10,000 people. Even the power of the Emperor cannot compare with you. How can you do this to a little girl? Perhaps she saw the weirdness in Shen Jian's expression. Empress Dowager Zhuang's face also became shy, bright, and moving, and said quietly, "Don't forget, I am still the ruler of Yanjai Kingdom. You are showing disgust by being so close to the Emperor. This palace. Me or her, which one do you choose?" Shen Jian. Only children make choices, adults want them all. He sighed. I thought that a mature, strong, and noble woman like Empress Dowager Zhuang would usually be very tolerant and have a strong sense of independence. But now it seems that the Queen Mother is not independent at all. This is not a good sign. You can't let a small sapling kill a hard-working gardener like him, right? Think about it. Shen Jian stepped forward. Picking up Queen Mother Zhuang and letting her rest on his lap, smelling the fragrance in her ears, Shen Jian said, "Queen Mother, do you think your charm will be lost to a young girl?" The hot air hit her nose, and the scorching yang energy made Empress Dowager Zhuang dare not look into Shen Jian's eyes. Her cheeks were red and her charming eyes were silky, but she still snorted coldly, "Who knows, you shameless little thief pretending to be an eunuch, even Feng Tan you dare to climb, but who knows if you will be brave enough to climb the dragon bed. Obviously you only belong to me. What am I to you?" Shen Jian looked at Queen Mother Zhuang threateningly. Little boy's favorite. Empress Dowager Zhuang was not afraid at all and spoke out very forcefully. After listening, Shen Jian looked confused. So Queen Mother, you like this kind of tone, Queen Mother and male favorite. The words fell. Shen Jian carried Queen Zhuang to the phoenix couch. Shameless little thief, it's daytime now, and I still have to deal with the memorial. See it? Queen Mother Zhuang began to struggle. Let the Emperor handle it. Your little boy favorite now wants to disobey your orders. Shen Jian smiled. Gently lower the golden gauze curtain of the phoenix couch. The figures of the two people gradually became hazy, looming. Time flies. The sun sets. Shen Jian admired the Queen Mother's sleeping face. Queen Mother Zhuang also slowly woke up. Feeling the familiar smell around him, he opened his eyes and looked at Shen Jian for the first time. His eyes were hazy, and his face showed the laziness of someone who had just woken up from sleep. The setting sun shines through the window on the two of them. Warm and harmonious. Queen Mother Zhuang squinted her eyes, remembering that she seemed to have not heard Shen Jian's answer this morning, but she was too tired to think about these questions anymore. Because Shen Jian has proven with practical actions that she is more charming than the Queen of Evernight and can capture the hearts of men better. This shameless little thief belongs to him. No one can take it away. Anyway, her good princess is more interested in power. At worst, she will give the other party part of the political power in the future, so that Queen Yanjai can give up her coveting of Shen Jian. It's already this hour, do you have anything else to do? After looking at the sky, Queen Mother Zhuang said lazily. Full of mature charm. Well, Queen Mother, how much do you know about the top ghost king worshipped by the royal family? Shen Jian asked. When it comes to the person who knows the most secrets in the Yanjai kingdom, it is none other than the Queen Mother in front of her. Hear this. Queen Mother Zhuang's face also became serious little by little. Somewhat surprised. Why do you ask? Can't I know? Not really, it's just that if you didn't say anything, I would have almost forgotten these people. Queen Mother Zhuang's tone was cold, and her eyes were filled with seriousness. These royal ministers are all the people around the late emperor. They are all dead people. During the 10 years when Yanjai kingdom was in turmoil, I once wanted to wake them up and use them to stabilize the government, but they were rejected. The rejection, especially by the leader, the great worshipper, who was once the late emperor's companion and possesses the strength of a top ghost king, cannot even be commanded by me, so I can only let these people lie sleeping next to the royal ancestral temple. Shen Jian said, eternal sleep. Yes, these offerings are said to have been made by the late emperor's order. He was buried next to the royal ancestral hall. He could only wake up at a specific time. I also asked when, but the great minister never mentioned it, and his attitude was arrogant, as if I was not qualified to know. He didn't take me seriously at all. Queen Mother Zhuang explained angrily. After listening, Shen Jian was thoughtful. Could this be a legacy left by the late emperor of Yanjai kingdom? Do you need to wake up when the eternal night kingdom is in a state of life and death? But soon, he gave up the idea. Because according to official historical records, the kingdom of Yanjai has been destroyed. Only the Queen of Evernight remains. If the group of offerings left by the late emperor were a force that could play a role in life and death, then whether it was the Ghost Boy incident or the Zhou Prime Minister incident, the other party should wake up and stop it. The result, however, was indifference. Judging from the destruction of Yanjai kingdom, the other party did not play any role. Rather than talking about the power left to the royal family, he would rather believe that these people have rebelled. Think of this. The smile on Shen Jian's face became stronger and stronger. Queen Mother, this is a group of unstable factors, and I have reason to suspect that these people know the current situation of the royal family, but they just watch it and ignore it. They must have different intentions. Shen Jian said seriously. Queen Mother Zhuang was stunned for a moment. You want to touch them? Right. If you have the ability, you can do whatever you want. I have long been dissatisfied with these offerings, but I have never had the ability to deal with them. If you go, I can rest assured. Mrs. Zhuang smiled. Whether she admits it or not, since the arrival of this shameless little thief, the situation in Yanjai kingdom has undergone earth-shaking changes, and it has changed for the better. All of this is the credit of the man in front of her. And in the process of running in again and again, she became more and more fascinated by this shameless little thief who dared to climb onto the phoenix bed. The sense of déjà vu that the king is not in court is getting stronger and stronger. What? Aren't you going to be busy? I still want to sleep for a while. Seeing that Shen Jian didn't move, Queen Mother Zhuang felt a little strange. Under Shen Jian's gaze, he slowly lowered his head. Only then did he realize that during the conversation just now, he subconsciously sat up to talk, revealing his white jade-like skin. I haven't seen enough yet. Empress Dowager Zhuang glanced at Shen Jian angrily. Cover yourself. Queen Mother. No. Before Shen Jian could finish speaking, Queen Mother Zhuang quickly interrupted. But seeing Shen Jian's attitude, she still softened her heart and kissed Shen Jian on the face. That's it? See it? Shen Jian raised his eyebrows. Quite satisfied. Queen Mother, your little boy will come to serve you next time. Shen Jian smiled. Turn around and leave. Zhuang Tai, whose cheeks were burning with embarrassment, was left angry. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yu Buletin Chi Gua. Chapter 455. Leave Sinning Palace. Shen Jian walked freely in the palace. He looked at the progress of the hidden mission. Hidden mission, reversing the fate of the kingdom of Evernights' destruction. Current progress, 60%. Look at the panel. Shen Jian pondered. Calculating the time, it has been nearly 7 days since he entered the Yanjai Kingdom dungeon. In these 7 days, he has solved the disaster at the City God's Temple, General Blood's rebellion, Prime Minister Zhou's rebellion, and the Ghost Infant's attack on the city. Coupled with the fact that the Queen Mother is not in court, the task can be pushed to 60%. There is still a long way to go to completely rewrite the fate of Yanjai Kingdom's destruction. Among them, King Huai is undoubtedly the most important part. But it is definitely not the reason why Yanjai Kingdom turned into a dead city. After all, if King Huai in history had conquered Yanjai Kingdom, Queen Yanjai would definitely not be spared. It is even more impossible to persist for more than 20 years until she is completely restored to her daughter's body and rules the world as the Empress. This shows that the former king of Huai was defeated. Shen Jian felt a little emotional in his heart. The Queen of Yanjai in the official history is indeed amazing and talented. She was able to defeat King Huai in such a desperate situation and completely stabilize her political rule. The name of the Empress is well deserved. However, even the peerless Empress still failed to save the kingdom of Evernight. Even if he becomes a ghost or god, he can only stay alone in the lonely dead city and sit alone in the palace in the sky. Think of this. Shen Jian's heart rippled. Not long after, he has appeared in the royal ancestral hall. According to the information from Empress Dowager Zhuang, the last of the 4 top ghost kings of Yanjai Kingdom is buried in the side hall next to the royal ancestral temple. He was the old man who accompanied the late emperor, and was also enshrined by the Yanjai Kingdom. High status. Shen Jian looked around. It was a palace whose size should not be underestimated. Decorated with yellow glazed tiles, it is bright and shining. No hesitation. Shen Jian pushed open the heavy palace door. Compared with the splendor outside, the inside of the palace is a completely different scene. Dark, gloomy, and penetrating. Dozens of coffins are on display. All are black coffins. There is a terrifying supernatural wave exuding all the time. As if he could revive at any time. And on the steps, there is a thick red coffin. Carved python body. Just staring, there is a sign of being attacked by a supernatural being. See this. An excited smile appeared on Shen Jian's face. Top Ghost King. There is no doubt that the person buried in this red coffin is the great enshrinement of Yanjai Kingdom. And in addition to the large offerings, the dozens of black coffins below also have supernatural reactions above the Ghost King level. All members are Ghost Kings. If this power is placed in the Eternal Night Kingdom, it can form a party of its own, and it is no worse than the left and right prime ministers. Caught them all. Fill the 18th level of hell. With this idea in mind, Shen Jian stepped into the palace. At this time, the dark hall was eerily lit with fire. With a very strange frequency, it kept burning and extinguishing. An ordinary person would have been frightened out of his wits at this time. Even those who control ghosts will feel as if they are facing a formidable enemy and will not dare to be careless at all. Because an invisible ghost means that even if you are attacked by a supernatural being, you don't know where the source comes from. If you are not careful, you will be killed here. However, Shen Jian's face remained calm, and he looked in the direction of the fire. On the back of the hand, 7 ghost eyes suddenly opened their scarlet eyes. The scarlet ghost realm spreads, dyeing everything with blood. In the direction of the fire, a fierce ghost wearing eunuch costumes holding a paper lantern was patrolling the palace. He stared at Shen Jian with a sinister look. As he walked, he blew out the fire on the lantern. This resulted in the effect of the fire constantly burning and extinguishing. Shen Jian. The corner of his mouth twitched slightly. This ghost is pretty good at creating a scary atmosphere. Placed in a haunted house, it can scare many people into having heart attacks. The other side. Seeing Shen Jian, who was in a daze and the corners of his mouth twitched with fear, the lantern ghost played even more vigorously. An extremely excited and evil smile appeared on a broken ghost face. Hey, if you dare to break in here without permission, I won't scare you to death. Dude, are you tired? Shen Jian couldn't help but speak. In an instant, the atmosphere suddenly became stagnant. Lantern ghost? He froze. The ferocious smile on his face suddenly froze. I am super, how did this little brother see himself? This is in the category of ghost realm, and it is a multi-layered ghost realm superimposed. Even the top ghost king may not be able to detect him. However, he seems to have been discovered now. Scam me. This thought came to Lantern Ghost's mind. With multiple layers of ghost realm superimposed, no one should be able to detect him. This man should be deceiving him. Damn thing. It's so cunning. Think of this. The lantern ghost carefully blew out the fire, and kept getting closer to Shen Jian. The ferocious face became more and more sinister. He is the gatekeeper of the palace and is responsible for using the special characteristics of the multi-layered ghost realm to hide all the coffins in case of emergencies to prevent them from being discovered. At the same time, he has another mission. That is to kill all the enemies who trespass here and light the wick. Just now, the firelight burned several times and shone on the intruder, triggering the fatal supernatural power. Snapped. The next moment, Shen Jian had no expression on his face and slapped him with a big dick. A clear voice sounded. Can you show off your face a little bit? This kind of intimidation method totally embarrasses us. Shen Jian cursed. Kicked the lantern ghost over with one kick, and his fist as big as a sandbag fell down. This is the ghost with the lowest scary tactics he has ever seen. He is obviously the king of ghosts, but he can only create scary effects by blowing out the wicks. It's so disappointing. Lantern ghost. Damn it. Why the hum are you going to slap me in the face just because of this? Do you know how much damage a big pussy did to me? His eyes widened. Still want to fight back. At this time, Shen Jian took out the morning stick from his body. You will only bring shame to you ghosts while you are still alive. In order not to affect your reputation, I'll give it to you. Lantern ghost. He wanted to cry but had no tears. Damn it. What evil did I commit in my previous life? For messing with such a piece of shit like you. I can't scare people, I can learn. You're going to beat me to death because you don't even want to give me a chance. Think of this. The lantern ghost couldn't sit still. He immediately said, "Wait, I can." The words have not yet finished. Shen Jian's morning stick has been struck. The lantern ghost felt his brain surge and his forehead being pried open, and then he lost consciousness completely. There is only one thought left in my mind. You must be a devil. Do it all. Did he just plan to say something? Forget it, there is still one anyway. Shen Jian tilted his head. His eyes slowly fell on the lid of one of the coffins. It was an image of an evil ghost that seemed to have been copied, with dark eyes and a face that bullied the weak and feared the strong. His aura is also at the Ghost King level. If you guessed correctly, these two Ghost Kings should be the coffin keepers, responsible for preventing outsiders from breaking into this place. Your brother is already dead, are you still planning to pretend to be dead? Shen Jian walked over. Grinning. Evil ghost. Grass. I'm already like this, how the hell could you find out? In shock and anger. The portrait of the evil ghost on the coffin lid stood up like a paper man. Thin figure. It's like a gust of wind can blow the wind. But the supernatural fluctuations on his body were even stronger than those of the lantern ghost. It is already infinitely close to the abyss-level ghost. Get out of here, or... The evil ghost gave a sinister warning. The voice was cold. Otherwise what? Shen Jian laughed strangely. The pace is faster. Otherwise, I'll run. See this. The evil spirit didn't hesitate at all. After leaving the black coffin, the next second the red coffin lid appeared on the steps. He, I can use part of the coffin owner's supernatural powers through possession. As an outsider, you will be trapped here, trapped in multiple layers of ghost land, until you die. The evil ghost smiled sadly. Standing on the red coffin, there was unspeakable malice in his eyes. Shen Jian ignored it. Keep getting closer. But the next moment, an invisible supernatural force swept over. He obviously took 3 steps forward, but he appeared in the opposite position. Shen Jian was startled. He looked at the ghost eyes on the back of his hand. Ghost eye. Master, this place is covered with more than 30 layers of ghost realm. I can at most make the ghost appear, but I can't break through. Speaking of which, the ghost eyes screamed again, Master, this is the limit that the 7 ghost eyes can do now. I think back then, all 8 of my eyes were open. This multi-layered ghost realm was like paper, with all 9 eyes open. Even the dungeons can't resist my invasion, and the ghosts and gods will kill them as they please. At the same time, seeing that Shen Jian couldn't get close, the evil spirit finally breathed a sigh of relief. There were only 2 coffin keepers, and the lantern ghost was killed, leaving him alone and helpless. But as long as this outsider cannot resist the erosion of the multi-layered ghost realm, there is no need to worry. Then, a wild smile appeared on his face. He jumped off the coffin lid and showed a sarcastic smile to Shen Jian. When the multi-layered ghost realm is about to dissipate, it jumps back onto the red coffin lid and continues to maintain the supernatural. Repeatedly jumped horizontally. Hey, I'm out. Hey, I'm in again. Hey, I'm out. Hey, I'm in again. Hit me if you can. Stupid outsider, you will be under the multi-layered ghost realm forever. The evil ghost laughs wildly. But the next moment, before he finished speaking, he saw Shen Jian in the audience taking out a simple long sword, with 7 star patterns appearing on the sword body. It is one of Judge Wu's magical weapons, the 7-star demonic sword. At the same time, an arc of electricity surrounded it. This moment, the smile on the evil ghost's face disappeared. Shen Jian also raised his head suddenly and grinned, I have never heard of such a request as yours in my life, so I will satisfy you. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yu Buletin Chi Gua. Chapter 456. This moment. The evil ghost was dumbfounded. What does this outsider want to do? Is it possible that you want to split the ghost realm? What a joke. Can the ghost realm be split open using a ghost weapon? And what the hell are you doing? The electric arc entangled and the sword pattern appeared. From this sword, he felt an unusually terrifying energy fluctuation, like a supernatural fluctuation, but also like a force completely different from the supernatural. Higher than the supernatural, suppressing the supernatural, and destroying the supernatural. He had an intuition that if he was hit by this sword, even if it was just lightly brushed, he would fall into a state of panic. There was no possibility of recovery. That moment, the evil spirit panicked. Shen Jian raised his head. The corners of his mouth curled up. The seven-star demonic sword was wrapped in a bright white electric arc, and it was drawn out with one stroke. The sword light shot out. Buzz. The entire palace began to shake violently, as if there was an earthquake. Just a moment. Click. A sound like a broken mirror suddenly sounded. The invisible ghost realm begins to collapse. It revealed the true appearance of this palace. Magnificent. Just like the main royal palace, it is extremely luxurious. I'm afraid even the Queen of Avernite's palace is not as grand as this one. Shen Jian withdrew his gaze and landed on the red coffin possessed by the evil spirit. That was the coffin where the royal family enshrined themselves. There lies a top ghost king sleeping inside. But now there was such a loud movement that it was unable to wake the other party up. He mused. Approaching step by step. Evil ghost. At this moment, he was stunned. The 33-layer ghost realm created by combining all the offerings was broken by a sword. Not even the great enshrinement has such terrifying strength. Who the hell is this person? Does this kind of terror still exist in today's royal family? The other side. Looking at the sluggish evil ghost, Shen Jian smiled kindly and said in a father-like voice, "Within 3 seconds, I will scatter your ashes into the sea." Evil ghost. Emma. How did you say such cold words with your 30-degree mouth? He broke into a cold sweat. I felt as if the blood all over my body was frozen, and a chill surged into my heart from the solace of my feet. Looking at Shen Jian approaching step by step, a forced smile appeared on his face. Brother, if I say that what I just did was stimulating your potential, would you believe it? The evil ghost turned pale and said tremblingly. Believe, of course I believe it, we are all brothers, trust is in my heart. Shen Jian chuckled. Just when the evil spirit thought he had escaped, he suddenly saw that Shen Jian had raised his sword. Evil ghost. Brother, what are you doing? He subconsciously screamed in fear, and the body attached to the lid of the red coffin was about to slip away. Next moment, Shen Jian stretched out his big hand and grabbed his neck. Brother, don't be afraid, I just want to test your recovery speed. The words fell. Shen Jian raised the 7-star demon sword. Evil ghost. Grass. Goddamn, test the recovery speed. Even if a ghost has the ability to revive on its own, it cannot withstand being dismembered by a ghost weapon of this level. Damn it, you just want to kill me. Wait, brother, I can rebel. I know the situation here, and I also know the secret of the great worshippers and the others sleeping here. Seeing the sword getting closer, the demon's knees weakened and he shouted loudly. Shen Jian made a move. He raised his eyebrows and said, "Tell me." The evil ghost who saved a dog's life did not dare to hide anything and explained, "Brother, I heard other people discussing a certain plan after the Queen Mother and the Grand Priest finished talking. The great minister once said that we stay here not to wipe the royal families but in the future, but to preserve our strength so that when the time comes, we can dedicate the eternal Night Kingdom to the kingdom. Hear this." Shen Jian frowned slightly. Just these people? Although the dozens of coffins in this palace can be a party of their own, they are not qualified to subvert the kingdom of Evernight. At least in his opinion, the power possessed by the Great Enshrinement was not as powerful as that of Prime Minister Zhou, who possessed the Ghost Boy. In other words, this so-called time is ripe, perhaps referring to the fact that he still has allies. First timing. Shen Jian thought of King Huai. In today's Yanjai kingdom, Prime Minister Right has surrendered, and Prime Minister Zhou has died. The only one left with a chance to join forces with this great minister is King Huai. If the two cooperate internally and externally, it is indeed possible to destroy the Eternal Night Kingdom. And the possibility is great. Think about it. Shen Jian continued to ask, is there any other news? Have. The evil spirit nodded quickly and considered his tone. I once heard other worshippers asking the great worshipper why we wanted to rebel. The great minister said, we are not rebelling, we are just returning the Yanjai kingdom, which was originally the property of others. The people of the Yanjai kingdom are all other people's food. Now the time is ripe and it is time to harvest. Shen Jian's eyes showed a bit of surprise. The kingdom of Evernight is someone else's property? Are the people of Yanjai kingdom just food harvested by others? These remarks surprised even Shen Jian. If what the evil ghost said was true, then the person behind the destruction of the Eternal Night Kingdom was probably more terrifying than he imagined. Think of this. The smile on Shen Jian's face became even brighter. Feeling excited? Ghosts and gods are divided into nightmare level and world-destroying level. He had originally guessed that the man behind the destruction of the Eternal Night Kingdom was probably a world-destroying ghost and god, but it was just a guess after all. But if combined with evil spirits, then the guess is 9 out of 10 accurate. There really is a world-destroying ghost and god here. If you can catch it, the last level of the 18 levels of hell will be unlocked immediately. While thinking, the evil ghost uttered another word in a hesitant tone. The great minister also said that after we dedicate the Eternal Night Kingdom, he can lead everyone to the deep ghost realm and establish a foothold there. Hear the words. Shen Jian's eyes lit up. What a good day it is today. Not only was it confirmed that the real culprit who destroyed the Eternal Night Kingdom was a ghost and god above the world-destroying level, there was also news about the deep-level ghost realm. He has been coveting the deep ghost realm for a long time. All the ghosts and gods he knew were trapped here. If you can enter it, it will be a buffet feast. Do you know where it is? Shen Jian asked. I don't know, the great priest only mentioned his name. Name? Yes, the great worshipper said that we will enter the Zhoujui heavenly palace and establish a foothold. As soon as these words came out, Shen Jian's pupils shrank suddenly. Zhoujui Tian Palace? One of the 6 days of Lufeng in the underworld. Is it possible that Luofeng Liuxian is in the same horror world as Huangquan Road? Shen Jian fell into deep thought. The 6 heavens of Lufeng and the 6 heavenly palaces form a world of their own. The so-called deep ghost realm is where the 6 heavenly palaces are located? Shen Jian was thoughtful. The mood is stirring. Nowadays, the reconstruction work of the underworld is on the right track. There is news about the Gate of Hell, Huangquan Road, Huangchuan River, City of Wasted Death, Hall of Hell, 18 levels of hell, and even 6 paths of reincarnation. Only Luofeng had no clues for 6 days. I never thought that I already knew it. The 6 days of Luofeng are the deep ghost realm. Moment. Shen Jian came to his senses. The smile on his face could no longer be concealed. Because the owner of the red coffin in front of him knows the clues to the deep ghost realm. Just thinking about it? Shen Jian was about to open the coffin. Brother, if you open the coffin now, it will ruin the plan of the great enshrinement. The evil spirit warned cautiously. Shen Jian's movements stagnated. Speak more carefully. It's like this. Although I don't know who the great minister is planning to unite with, the great minister has said that once someone breaks through here, his allies will get the news in advance. Shen Jian raised his eyebrows. Think about it. The red coffin was not touched again. The coffin is here, and he is not afraid that the great priest can escape from his hands. But if this alarmed King Huai, who was far away at the border, and let the other party run away, then the gain would outweigh the loss. He wants news about the deep ghost realm, and he also wants the top ghost king. He also wants all the troops and horses of King Huai. Then if I do something small, is there any problem? No. The evil ghost said weakly. Some didn't understand what Shen Jian meant. See it? Shen Jian smiled. He is not worried about these ghosts running away, but necessary insurance is still required. Then Shen Jian opened a black coffin, revealing the corpse of the ghost king sleeping inside. A face that seemed to be smiling but not smiling, as if coming to life, was staring at Shen Jian with a strange smile. This scene. It's Harry. He has obviously fallen into a long sleep. But he seemed to have never been asleep, with a penetrating expression. Shen Jian looked over. It's unreasonable to smile so happily even though you're sleeping. It's very unreasonable. It's so ugly, it needs to be corrected. Shen Jian clicked his tongue. From his perspective as a famous doctor, this corpse was too strange. It seems like a smile but not a smile. Totally unscientific. Think of this. Shen Jian took out a scalpel and slowly slit the corner of the ghost king's corpse's mouth, until the crack reached the base of the ear. He took out the makeup pen and painted on his face. At last. He took out a few peachwood nails used to seal the ghost bride, and hammered a peachwood nail into the ghost king's limbs and between his eyebrows to fix the ghost king to the coffin. After some operations, this ghost corpse looks even weirder. Evil ghost? Damn it! What the hum are you doing? These are our dearest relatives and friends, can you bear to treat them like this? See this. The evil spirit couldn't help but shudder. He stared blankly at the scene in front of him. Damn it! He had seen many evil ghosts, but this was the first time he had seen one as evil as Shen Jian. All the evil spirits they have here probably wouldn't be able to do such a thing. In the hands of such a person, would he still have a chance? Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yu Buletin Chi Gua. Chapter 457. Looking at Shen Jian's masterpiece, the evil spirit possessing the red coffin fell silent. Even the worst of them could not do such a thing. For a while, he suddenly felt that the name evil ghost was no longer suitable for Shen Jian, and was even a bit insulting. He was much more cruel than evil ghost. The word devil is more suitable. Just thinking about it, he saw a look of satisfaction on Shen Jian's face, as if he had completed some proud work, and then walked towards the next black coffin. After standing for a few seconds, a new idea seemed to come to my mind. This time, Shen Jian took out a tray. Aiming at the sleeping ghost king, he opened a knife on both ribs. Evil ghost. This moment, he was completely stunned. This is too bad. What do you want to do on horseback? While my friends are sleeping, what about their waste? Grass. You have taken all the bamboo shoots on the mountain. What a dog. He could already imagine the miserable scene of waiting for his friends to recover and then finding that both of his waists had been lost. And as a coffin keeper, his end will definitely be tragic. Then, he subconsciously said, "Brother, you can't. Hear sounds." Shen Jian glanced at the evil ghost with dangerous eyes. Is there anything wrong? Evil ghost. Inappropriate. You didn't think anything was wrong? Meeting Shen Jian's eyes, the evil ghost hesitated, but finally gave in and sneered, I want to say that what you have now is my good brother's waste. His ghost corpse is special, with 3 kidneys. It's gone. Shen Jian nodded. He is indeed a good brother. He is lucky to know you. Soon. Shen Jian finally completed his masterpiece. The 24 coffins on the field all displayed their unique beauty in different ways. In the coffins, some were tied with soul-enchanting chains into a tortoise-shell shape, some were welded to death in the coffins with peachwood nails, some were hung high by ghost ropes, some were dismembered and spliced together. The most important owner of the red coffin, Shen Jian, adopted the most solemn method of restraint. 2 wooden boards were crossed to form a cross and inserted into the back. Both feet were bound with soul-stirring chains, and a red Rakshasa gun was inserted in the chest. Nail it completely. Do it all. Shen Jian nodded with satisfaction. Is it more normal? The previous environment was too gloomy and intrusive. I changed it. Is it more pleasing to the eye? Little did I know. In the eyes of the evil spirits of the coffin keeper, this scene is far more bizarre than the display of dozens of coffins. No. It should be said that it is evil. This damn thing is too cruel. A powerful ghost at the level of a top ghost king was actually treated like this. He could already foresee the scene in which the entire palace would be burned down in anger after the great enshrinement was revived. Think of this. He shivered. You stay here and watch. If these people recover, notify me as soon as possible. Say it. Shen Jian turned and left. Today's harvest has exceeded his expectations. Not only did he effortlessly imprison all the Ghost King level ghosts, including the royal ministers, but he also got clues about Luo Feng's 6 days. Certainly. Let's not mention these for now. The most important thing at the moment is King Huai, who is far away at the border. In Shen Jian's opinion, rather than waiting for the top Ghost King, Dazone, to revive on his own, it would be better for him to awaken him himself. And for this, we need to deal with King Huai first. Prevent the other party from getting the news in advance and disappearing. He wants all the top 4 Ghost Kings in Yanjai Kingdom out of the royal ancestral temple. Shen Jian glanced at the chat interface. Ever since they learned that Prime Minister Zhou was not the mastermind behind the scenes, but the King of Hawaii who supported the army and respected himself, the players seemed to have collectively pressed the pause button, and there was no movement at all. It was as if he had accepted his fate. The heart is as grey as death. To this, Shen Jian's face was expressionless. At this time, he received a private message from Yefeng. Yefeng, Yama, what do you think of King Huai's attempt to rebel? King Yama, open your eyes and see. Yefeng. Yefeng, you have always been away from us, and you have great power. You must also understand the impact of King Huai's rebellion. We simply cannot complete the task with our strength alone. We need the help of Yanjai Kingdom to change this. We need to work together. Yefeng, Yama, I want to live. I have come this far and am among the top 10 ghost masters in the supernatural world. I don't want to lose my life here so easily. In the room, the short-haired man whose ID is Yefeng has a complicated expression. As one of the top 10 ghost masters in the supernatural circle, he is undoubtedly the darling of horror games. He is at home in the horror world and is equally prosperous in the real world, being kneeled and licked by countless players. But here it is. In this 5-star difficulty copy of Eternal Night Kingdom, he lost his confidence as a top ghost master. Walking on thin ice. My heart was shrouded in despair. Then he begged Shen Jian. Because currently the only one who has the chance to lead them through the customs is Shen Jian. Yefeng stared at the chat interface, waiting for news from Shen Jian. Moment. A new chat record appears. King Yama, go to the small border town and collect information about King Huai for me. See this. Yefeng breathed rapidly and his face turned red. My heart was wrapped in a huge surprise. Shen Jian did not say that he had no way, but asked him to collect information. In other words, Shen Jian is still sure. He is sure to deal with the charge of a top ghost king and an army of thousands of fierce ghosts. Think of this. Ye Feng couldn't come back to his senses for a long time. He was completely convinced and sincerely convinced. The top 10 ghost masters in the supernatural world are all rubbish in front of Yama. There are no tigers in the mountains, but monkeys are kings. In Shen Jian's eyes, even the so-called top 10 ghost masters are probably no more than monkeys. With this thought, he left the palace quickly. The other side. After sending the message, his eyes flickered. The small border town is the city closest to the border. If you want to collect intelligence, this is the most suitable place. Thinking. Shen Jian has arrived at the Imperial Study Room. Just now, a palace maid sent him a message saying that the Emperor was looking for him. Shen Jian knew that Queen Yanjai was planning to redeem her promise. According to his understanding, the Imperial Study Room is not only the place where Queen Yangye handles government affairs, but also separates a single room and transforms it into a small bath with a diameter of 2 meters for bathing. During this period, no one is allowed near the Imperial Study Room. Even the serving maid's only role is to deliver the changes of clothes, and she needs to keep her head down the whole time. Arriving at the side hall compartment, Shen Jian saw Queen Yanjai sitting at her desk, carefully handling the memorial. "You came." The Evernight Witch showed a rare smile. Perhaps because the biggest secret had been discovered, she did not choose to continue pretending to be the emperor in front of Shen Jian. Instead, she stretched herself comfortably and complained, "Really, although the Queen Mother is delegating power to me, today this matter is obviously related to the future situation of the imperial court, and the Queen Mother actually trusted me to handle the whole process alone. You are a person close to the Queen Mother. Do you know what the Queen Mother has been doing recently? Forget it if she doesn't go to court in the morning, even the memorials are handed over to me now." Shen Jian. His eyes were strange. Fortunately, Queen Yanjai's foundation is still shallow and she has not been able to find out the specific information about Sinning Palace. Otherwise, she would have heard rumors like the Queen Mother did not go to court because she favored a eunuch. It seems that the speed needs to be accelerated. Think of this. Shen Jian's heart rippled. He said, "Your Majesty, the area around the royal study has been sealed off, and all palace maids and guards have stayed away. I promise that not even a mosquito will fly in. Your Majesty, you can take off your clothes and take a bath in peace." Queen Yangye was only wearing a black tunic at this time and was about to take off her clothes when she saw someone looking at her intently. Her earlobes were reddish and she felt very uncomfortable, as if she was dating her lover in a private place. With the sense of déjà vu, I could only curse. Mosquitoes can't even fly in, but a thief has obviously come in. How can I take a bath in peace? Shen Jian raised his eyebrows. He said casually, "Your Majesty, do you need my help in undressing? I can also do it for you." Hear this. Queen Yanjai frowned and said angrily, "I am not that delicate." As she spoke, she took off her jade-encrusted belt. In just an instant, the young emperor in front of Shen Jian changed his appearance. The neutral and handsome man's face became bright and attractive. Her eyes are bright, her teeth are white, her skin is white, her appearance is beautiful, and her waist is slender and soft jade is fragrant. Even wearing a black coat, she is still stunning. Shen Jian's eyes moved slightly. Compared with the female ghosts in phoenix robes of later generations, Queen Yanjai is still very immature at this moment, but Rongqing's talents in the Six Kingdoms have already begun to show. Sure enough, all men are like this. Seeing Shen Jian's eyes, Queen Yanjai snorted. He went to the bathroom in the cubicle on his own. Show generosity in your behavior. It was as if Shen Jian was not regarded as a normal man at all. But Shen Jian still saw the flash of blush on Queen Yangye and her panic as she walked. Obviously, this was the first time for her to be served by a man like this. Even though she was the emperor, she could not calm down at this moment. Shen Jian was a little funny. He then entered the compartment. On the bath. The water vapor is steaming, the clouds are lingering, and a unique fragrance is coming to your nostrils. No, please cover your eyes with this and don't peek. Next moment. Queen Yanjai threw her jade belt over. He motioned to Shen Jian to cover his eyes. This is a special supernatural prop. It can mask your aura, disguise it, and prevent others from peeking. Shen Jian. The corner of his mouth twitched. This is because you don't believe in his character. Your Majesty, how can I squeeze your shoulders and rub your back while you are blindfolded? I swear I will never peek. The Queen of Evernight remained unmoved. Very well implemented a point of view, men are all big pig hooves. He picked up the jade belt regardless, walked around behind Shen Jian, stood on tiptoes slightly, and tied her jade belt around Shen Jian's eyes. Until this moment, the Queen of Evernight is relieved. This supernatural prop of hers is extremely special. Once it is attached, there is no chance of spying on the outside world. Not to mention vision, even perception will be blocked. No different from a blind man. Immediately, her face was slightly red, she took off her black shirt and entered the bathtub. Shen Jian. His eyes moved slightly. The black pupils turned into a deep gray at some point. The corners of Shen Jian's lips curled up. It is undoubtedly a foolish dream to rely on supernatural beings to block his sight. But he looked normal. It's like you can't see anything. This is also the moment. He saw the most perfect work of art in the world. 1 point more means plump, 1 point less means thinner. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 458. On the bath. Most of the Queen of Evernight's body entered the water, with only a magnificent head exposed. She lay flatly on the edge of the bathtub and looked at Shen Jian behind her carefully, as if she was sure that the other party couldn't see her at the moment. Her pretty face turned rosy from time to time, and she didn't know whether it was due to the steam fumigating or because she was shy. "Why are you still standing there? Come here and rub my back," the Queen of Evernight called out. He quickly retracted his body into the bathtub. He exposed his fair jade back. "See this?" Shen Jian's eyes were strange. He grabbed the bath towel on the side and placed it on the Empress. Queen Evernight's breathing suddenly accelerated. Chest heaving. Before she was 10 years old, she lived in the inner courtyard. Her mother was a concubine who was relegated to the cold palace, and she was the unpopular 13th princess. From the day she was born, she had never seen her so-called father, let alone enjoyed the privileges of the imperial family. Princess treatment. After she was 10 years old, with the support of the Queen Mother, she disguised herself as a man and ascended the throne and proclaimed herself emperor, becoming the youngest emperor. In order to prevent her identity from being revealed, the Queen Mother did not allow anyone to serve her, and she remained alone. In my memory, there are very few instances of being served like this. What's more, it's a male prostitute. Even if he is a eunuch, he is still a man. But, this feels really good. Queen Yanjai straightened up slightly, her eyebrows narrowed, and she felt a little ecstatic. She couldn't help but let out a soft moan. Hearing this soft moan, and thinking of the beautiful scenery he had just seen, and the dragon body he was playing with now, Shen Jian felt a little strange. He moved downwards, but said something to divert his attention. "Your Majesty, I take the liberty of asking, do you have any clues about the disappearance of the late emperor and other princes?" Hear this. Queen Yanjai frowned. He closed his eyes and said, You are my most trusted lover, so there is no harm in telling you. I suspect that this matter has something to do with ghosts and gods. How to say? Although I have never met my father, I also know that my father is the top ghost king. In addition, it is located at the royal home court. Even if Prime Minister Yu and Prince Huai join forces, they will not be able to defeat my father. Other than ghosts and gods, I can't think of any other possibility to make my father disappear in an instant. As for the reason, according to the information I have found, the appearance of this ghost and god should also be related to a supernatural contract. The Queen of Evernight spoke eloquently. Although I didn't find this supernatural contract, I guess that the reason why my father was able to rise and establish the kingdom of eternal night was all related to this ghost and god. Now that the contract is in effect, the price will come with it. Father, this was a conspiracy with the tiger, and it was counterattacked. If I hadn't lived in the cold palace since I was a child, and no one saw me at all, I'm afraid I would also be on the missing list. Having said this, Queen Yanjai's tone remained calm. It's like talking to someone who has nothing to do with it. There was no respect at all in his words. After listening, Shen Jian was thoughtful. This statement was quite similar to what he had just heard. A ghost selected the late emperor of the Eternal Night Kingdom and helped him rise to establish the Eternal Night Kingdom. The price was to sacrifice the Eternal Night Kingdom in the future. However, the late emperor, who had tasted the taste of power, did not want to see his country destroyed. So he fought back and was eventually liquidated. Think of this. Shen Jian suddenly felt that this might be the truth behind the chaos in Yanjai Kingdom. Thinking. The Queen of Evernight said coldly, "Will you help me? I have an intuition that the ghost and god will return. Although I don't know what the other party wants, I just oppose everything the enemy wants." Certainly. Shen Jian nodded. A huge smile on his face. Okay, what do you mean by your love, huh? What are you doing? Wait, okay, don't go on, stop. Queen Yanjai suddenly opened her eyes, stretched out her jade hand, and grabbed Shen Jian's hand as he continued to move down. Showing anger. This little thief dared to touch other parts of her without her consent. Shen Jian said innocently, "Your Majesty, this rubbing of the back is of course a rubbing of the whole body. There is no reason to only rub the back half." The Queen of Evernight felt ashamed. Could this little thief still want to help her rub her front? If it had been anyone else, she would have been pulled down and chopped long ago. Think of this. She immediately grabbed another bath towel, soaked it with water, and threw it at Shen Xiang. Shen Jian turned sideways slightly. Avoided the attack. Can you see it? Seeing this, Queen Yanjai suddenly woke up and screamed. The jade belt blocks all visual perception. Even if someone launches an attack in front of him, it is logically impossible for Shen Jian to detect it. But the way Shen Jian looked just now didn't look like he was blindfolded at all. Next moment, her whole body shrank into the bathtub. Staring at Shen Jian angrily. His whole face turned red. From a thin light red, it instantly turned red enough to bleed. She thought about the scene where she had just peeked at Shen Jian, and then thought about the scene where she took off her clothes and took off her belt in front of Shen Jian. Unknowingly, she was watched naked. "Your Majesty, it's not my fault. I followed your request and never took off the jade belt during the whole process," Shen Jian said with an innocent expression. "That's enough. You took advantage of me and are still acting like a good boy here," the Queen of Evernight scolded. But after hearing Shen Jian's words, a trace of suspicion appeared on his face. Could it be that her jade belt took effect? Otherwise, how could Shen Jian see it? Logically speaking, even the top ghost king cannot break through the effect of the supernatural shield. Otherwise her daughter's identity would have been exposed long ago. See this. Her anger subsided somewhat. But he soon thought that if the jade belt failed, Shen Jian should report it to her as soon as possible instead of waiting for her to find out and take a full view of her body. This little thief was disrespectful to her. "Your Majesty, do you still need me to wipe it for you?" Roll. Shen Jian's eyes moved. Queen of Avernite. Current status: ashamed, embarrassed, aggrieved. Favorability: 62, ambiguous. Look at the favorability panel. Shen Jian knew that he couldn't continue making trouble now. Otherwise, it would be easy to arouse the resentment of the Empress. Then the gains outweigh the losses. Okay. Say it. Shen Jian left quickly. The Queen of Eternal Night was left staring blankly, feeling alone and ashamed in the bathtub. Since then, for several days, the Queen of Evernight did not show a good face towards him. Either pretending not to see it, or simply not seeing it. He was also ordered not to approach the Imperial study room. Shen Jian was speechless. "Since I can't see Queen Yanjai, I'll go find Queen Mother Zhuang." 62 points of favorability already showed that Queen Yanjai had some feelings for him. Knowing this, Shen Jian was not in a hurry. On the road, a message on the chat interface attracted his attention. "Yefeng, Yama, it's not good, the small border town has fallen. Watch this message." Shen Jian frowned slightly. He sent the other party to a small border town to collect information about King Huai, but he didn't expect to bring back such big news. This small border town is the defense line of Yanjai Kingdom. Once it falls, the enemy will march straight in. Go straight to the Imperial City. "King Yama, what's going on?" "Yefeng, 3 days ago, I came to a small border town. I wanted to inquire about the news, but I discovered something unusual. The population of the city was very small, so small that it was like a dead city. I wanted to escape from here, but I couldn't. I found that the entire border town could only be entered but not exited, and there were several extremely terrifying ghosts wandering the streets, killing people everywhere. Yefeng, I suspect that the small border town has been destroyed long ago, but the news has been blocked." Shen Jian's eyes moved slightly. Even though the small border town was destroyed, there was still enough power left to block all news and not be known to the Imperial City. The only person in the entire Yanjai Kingdom who had such ability was King Huai. In other words, King Huai's rebellion had already begun. If he hadn't sent Yefeng there on a whim, he might not have received the news until King Huai's large army arrived at the Imperial City. Shen Jian clicked his tongue. Today's Yanjai Kingdom is really in a state of premature decline. A city was destroyed, and no one in the entire court received the news. Thinking, the Scarlet Panel emerged. The side mission has been started. Side mission: Rebellion in Yanjai Kingdom. Content: in today's court, there are internal and external troubles, and the country will not be able to conquer the country. Remove the potential threat from the Yanjai Kingdom, integrate the inside and outside, and stabilize the monarchy. Task tips: before going outside, you must first settle inside. Note: this mission is the final stage of the branch completed to unlock special achievements. Warn. 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 This mission far exceeds the player's current level, and the reward is doubled. Go to the border town and resist the enemy's advance. The reward will be calculated based on the survival time limit. Looking at the Scarlet Panel, Shen Jian's face showed excitement. Finally come. The last of the 4 top ghost kings in the Eternal Night Kingdom. It is also the last step in completing his hidden mission. Shen Jian glanced away. Hidden mission: reversing the fate of the Kingdom of Avernite's destruction. Current progress: 60%. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the King of Hell of the 10th Palace. Author: Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 459. Looking at the prompts on the Scarlet Panel, Shen Jian knew that the biggest threat to this copy was coming. After solving King Huai, the progress of the hidden mission will be completely completed. The main mission will also come to an end. It's time for this 5-star copy to come to an end. The goal of the female ghost in Phoenix robe is to modify reality, let new memories overwrite old memories, trigger the supernatural effect of Huan Quan Road, and bring all the dead people back to reality. And Prince Huai was the biggest obstacle in the memory of the female ghost in Phoenix robe. After solving the opponent, the several major events in the memory that could affect Yanjai Kingdom will be revised. By then, the purpose of the female ghost in Phoenix robe will be achieved. With this thought, Shen Jian quickly turned back. Mr. Shen, His Majesty has issued an order prohibiting you from approaching the royal study. Please go over now. Your Majesty is still angry. The guard lowered his voice and gave a subtle reminder. At the same time, he did not forget to look at Shen Jian in surprise. He has been His Majesty's personal guard for so many years, and this is the first time he has seen His Majesty get so angry. You know, because His Majesty is a puppet emperor, he is very nice to everyone around him and rarely loses his temper. There has never been a situation like this where someone was explicitly prohibited from entering. And he found that every time Shen Jian came over, His Majesty would act like a little woman. Rather than giving an order to prohibit Shen Jian from approaching, it was more that His Majesty was too shy to see anyone. It doesn't matter, I have something important to do, and it concerns the Queen Mother. Shen Jian made a random excuse. Soon, he met the Queen of Evernight again. The other person turned back into a man. A fair, neutral, and delicate face that sometimes frowns and sometimes thinks deeply. Further down, a black inner shirt is worn as a base, and a black gold dragon robe is worn. The jade belt is tied around the waist. At this moment, Shen Jianke suddenly thought that this jade belt seemed to be the personal belongings of Queen Yanjai. It can be regarded as always in the emperor's body. When he was blindfolded, he seemed to smell a girl's incense and a little bit of remaining body temperature. Could it be body scent? Shen Jian's eyes were strange. Little thief, I didn't even summon you, what are you doing here? Queen Yongye looked at Shen Jian in shame. She was more ashamed than angry at the man who looked down on her. He wanted to order punishment, but in the end he was too soft-hearted to do so. And she seemed to have no reason and no ability to punish Shen Jian. So I can only sulk alone. Your Majesty, there is something you need to know. Shen Jian said seriously. King Huai, you have rebelled. The Queen of Evernight suddenly stood up. The sword's eyes narrowed. His expression changed even more. The thick yin qi belonging to the abyss-level Ghost King overflowed uncontrollably. Is the news accurate? She opened her mouth, with obvious solemnity in her tone. At present, she has just eliminated the influence of Prime Minister Zhou in the court. According to her idea, in just 3 years, she will be able to completely control the entire Yanjai Kingdom. At that time, it will be her time to launch external conquests. But now, not yet. It's basically certain. Shen Jian nodded. Tell the news of the fall of the border town in detail. After listening, the Queen of Evernight fell silent. Her guess was basically the same as Shen Jian's. The spy who could bypass the court and silently let a city fall, no one else except King Huai. According to the information I have, King Huai has 30,000 elite troops, and there are 4 generals under his command. Each of them is an abyss-level ghost that is infinitely close to the top Ghost King. On top of that, there is also a great general who leads the 4 generals. Although there is no specific record, but I suspect that it is a top Ghost King. Coupled with the fact that King Huai is the most powerful warrior in Yanjai Kingdom, if this force drives straight into the Imperial City, the Imperial City alone will not be able to withstand it. The Queen of Evernight murmured. The current situation is too bad. Not only was the overall strength of King Huai's side stronger, but the court also lost the opportunity. The collapse of the border town meant that the last natural barrier blocking King Huai no longer existed. Even if she started to mobilize her troops now, it would be too late. The other side. Hear this. A flash of light flashed in Shen Jian's eyes. The mood is stirring. 2 top ghost kings, 4 abyss-level ghosts who are infinitely close to the top ghost kings, and 30,000 elites. If all of them were caught, it would be equivalent to a ghost. The smile on Shen Jian's face grew stronger. If you add General Shui, Prime Minister Zhou, Ghost Boy, and the royal family members buried in the coffin, the achievements of the 2 ghosts and gods will be achieved. Think of this. Shen Jian said, Your Majesty, I am willing to help you share the pressure, but, I have a small request. Queen of Evernight? She was stunned. Share the pressure? Although she didn't think Shen Jian was worse than King Huai had 30,000 elites, so he wouldn't be stupid enough to challenge him alone. A top ghost king cannot play a decisive role in this war. Do you have any idea? Queen Evernight asked expectantly. Have. Okay, what is your request? Your Majesty, come here. Shen Jian hooked his fingers and smiled slightly. What? See this. Queen Yongye hesitated for a second, but still came to Shen Jian obediently. Distant eyes. Lips pursed. There is a sense of déjà vu that makes you want to refuse but welcome. My dear, you can tell me your request. As long as I can do it, I will satisfy you. Next moment. Before she could react, Shen Jian pecked her lips, flashing past her like a dragonfly touching water. This moment, the Queen of Evernight was completely confused. Let's go, what are you doing? With a swish, the Queen of Evernight covered her mouth, her whole face turned red, and she took a few steps back like a frightened bird. Queen of Evernight. Current status, shame, ashamed. Favorability, 68, ambiguous. Your Majesty, I would like to try the taste of ambergris. Take advantage. Shen Jian also stayed soon. Leave immediately. Before leaving, he turned around and said, Your Majesty, I will deal with King Huai's army for you. You stay here and wait for my news. Until Shen Jian left, the Queen of Evernight finally came to her senses. Touched his lips. The warmth between her lips seemed to still be vivid in her mind. She looked into the distance with complicated eyes. The first kiss that he had kept for 20 years was just gone. But when she thought of Shen Jian's words, she suddenly realized that she didn't hate this feeling. A long time. An energetic voice came from the Imperial study room. Come here, give me an order to mobilize all the soldiers near the Imperial city to help the small border town. You must bring the little thief, Manager Shen, back to me. The other side. Shen Jian unfolds the ghost realm. Disappeared into the palace. King Yama at Yefeng, tell me your location. Yefeng, Yama, you finally came back to me and saved me. I was discovered by a wandering ghost. It turned out to be an abyss-level ghost. Shen Jian was stunned. Abyss-level ghosts are rare in number. Especially in places like small border towns, they are even rarer. If he guessed correctly, this should be mentioned by Queen Yanjai, the generals from all directions under King Huai. Only a ghost king of this level could make a small border town fall as quickly as possible. He didn't hesitate. The figures move one after another. King of Yama, location. At the same time, the short-haired man with the ID Yefeng finished sending his location and hid in a house with a pale face. Through the wooden window, he could clearly see a corpse walking in the middle of the road on the street not far from him. It was a female corpse. The appearance was very strange. The skin all over his body was pale, without a trace of blood, but his eyes were a piercing scarlet. This red color is weird. The feeling it gave him was more vivid, eye-catching, and alluring than any red color in the world. People are attracted to these scarlet eyes unconsciously. Just a glance. Yefeng was sweating profusely, and his sweat glands streaked across his skin along his back. Abyss-level ghost. This is definitely a true abyss-level ghost. And it was more terrifying than any abyss-level ghost king he knew. With the level of evil ghost he controlled, he couldn't even look at it directly for a second time. He had an intuition that something bad would happen if they laid eyes on each other for a second time. Think of this. Yefeng shivered. He is ranked 7th among the top 10 ghost masters in the supernatural circle. His supernatural strength can even escape safely from the hands of the Ghost King. But at this moment, only then did he realize how weak he really was. In front of the female corpse, he didn't even have a chance to escape. He will die in an instant. Moment. Until the street fell into complete silence. Yefeng finally took a breath. He cautiously poked his head out, wanting to know what was going on outside the street. "Hey, I see you." Suddenly, a sinister laughter echoed. On the wooden window, a woman's ghostly face dripping with blood was plastered on it, staring at Yefeng, who just poked her head out. The two of them looked at each other. One person's face turned pale. One person smiled ferociously. "Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace." Author, Shi Buletin Chigwa. Chapter 460. One person and one ghost, looking at each other through the window. Showing two completely different attitudes. Yefeng's face suddenly turned pale, and he felt a cold air rushing from the soles of his feet to Tianlinggai. In broad daylight, his hands and feet were cold. The horror threshold has been seriously exceeded. Ghost. He was discovered by a ghost. Still an abyss-level ghost. Just looking at the other person made him feel suffocated and oppressed. Now the female corpse was standing in front of him, with the distance between the two sides less than 1 meter. He could clearly feel how terrifying the supernatural fluctuations emanating from this female corpse were. Even Jigsaw, the 3 fierce ghosts he controlled, seemed to be screaming at this moment, urging him to hurry up, and escape quickly. This moment. Despair enveloped my heart. Yefeng's heart was filled with despair. Just an abyss-level ghost made him so miserable. How did Yamluo treat a top ghost king like a deer and kill him in the court hall of Yanjai Kingdom? He couldn't imagine that scene. The other side. The scarlet female corpse also stared at her prey. A bloody ghostly face slowly opened, revealing a ferocious and twisted shape of a dead man. A pair of scarlet enchanting eyes flashed slightly. "Hey, you can't escape, so become my plaything." The words fell. Yefeng felt like the world was spinning. His eyes suddenly widened. When his vision returned to normal again, everything in front of him had turned into a scarlet color. The sky was stained with blood, the houses turned into ruins of bones, and mountains of corpses stood in front of him. That's not a body. It is a fierce ghost that has only been piled up. At this time, these fierce ghosts began to leave the mountain of corpses, showing their ferocious looks, looking at him and getting closer to him. Eerie sounds sounded from time to time. The night maple is like falling into an ice cave. This is dreaming. It is a very rare supernatural being. Once you are dragged into a dream, it means being dominated by others. And all the attacks he suffered in the dream would be fed back to his body, until he was completely dragged into the endless abyss and became a member of the mountain of corpses. Outside world. The scarlet female corpse smiled sadly. "Open your mouth slowly." She wants to bite the man in front of her into pieces, swallow her into her belly, and become one with her, never to be separated again. At this time, a curious voice sounded. "Hey, you guys got together, are you planning to poop in a crowd?" Scarlet female corpse. Hear sounds. The female corpse was slightly startled. God gathers people to shit. Can you be civilized in front of ladies? She was a little annoyed. I was preparing to blend in with others, but I didn't expect another one to disturb the situation. This damn place has been cleared out by her. How come there are still people who dare to go out on the streets in broad daylight? With this doubt, the scarlet female corpse glanced at the source of the sound. Not far from the street, a figure appeared out of thin air. Wearing a eunuch costume embroidered with a python body, and a blood-stained ghost rope on her wrist, she particularly caught her attention. It was Shen Jian. What a handsome prey, please become one with me. The scarlet female corpse smiled strangely. Then, the scarlet ghost eyes became more and more profound. A supernatural wave swept over. That moment, Shen Jian's eyes were dazed for a moment. He was stunned for a moment, then showed a hint of excitement and let out a strange smile of GGG. But only less than 2 seconds. The smile on Shen Jian's face gradually faded. He murmured, "Did the mountain of corpses turn out to be fake? It's so vicious. You actually want me to be immersed in a dream that I can't extricate myself from. Damn it, you really deserve to die." Scarlet female corpse? She was startled. Then he reacted. Damn it. The evil ghosts in the mountain of corpses are looking around, ghost sounds are in my ears, there is nowhere to escape, despair and powerlessness are intertwined, blood and flesh are torn to pieces. Does this tell me this is a sweet dream? God is so immersed in it that he cannot extricate himself. Damn it, I almost thought I had dragged you into a group of beauties. The scarlet female corpse couldn't hold herself any longer. She continued to increase her output. The overwhelming yin qi surged out. The terrifying supernatural power from the infinitely close to the top Ghost King spread completely at this moment. As one of the 4 generals under King Huai, she possesses an extremely powerful dreaming ability. Even if a truly top Ghost King is in front of her, she can forcefully pull him into a dream. She didn't believe that this dog eunuch from the palace could withstand such an intense supernatural attack. However, the next moment, everything in front of her also changed. In a daze, she seemed to be pulled into a dream she had created. The moment he looked up, a shadow of a dark-colored pupil suddenly appeared in the scarlet sky. What kind of eyes are those? Sacred, eternal, cannot be looked directly at. Even though it was just a shadow, she still felt a tremor coming from her soul. It was as if just being stared at directly, a great fear surged into my heart. Ah! The scarlet female corpse trembled all over and screamed in terror. The dream also shattered at this moment. The scarlet female corpse fell straight down. There is no more supernatural reaction. A ghostly face was covered with fear. It was as if he had seen some terrifying existence before his death and was frightened to death. At the same time, Ye Feng also suddenly woke up. He was so frightened that he broke out in a cold sweat. After touching his body and finding no defects, he breathed a sigh of relief. He also noticed the scarlet female corpse lying outside the window, completely in a state of death. He was stunned. Following the direction where the scarlet female corpse fell, I saw a figure walking over. Yan Luo, you are finally here. Ye Feng was a little excited. Did you do this? His tone was hesitant. Shrink in fear. Because the appearance of this female corpse before death made him a little concerned. What on earth did the other party see that made him show such a horrified expression before he died? You know, that is an abyss-level ghost. What kind of ghosts of this level have you not seen before? But now, he looked like he was scared to death. Shen Jian didn't answer. Just come in stride. He kicked the scarlet female corpse a few times. He spat again. I thought that my wish of having a buffet of corpses and a sea of corpses that I had been dreaming about day and night was fulfilled. The love was just an illusion. You really deserve to die. You made me happy for nothing. Feeling dissatisfied, Shen Jian directly opened the entrance to the small hell of the blood pool, revived the scarlet female corpse, and threw it in. In the midst of screams, Shen Jian closed the entrance with satisfaction. Ye Feng. Damn it! So vindictive. Everyone else is dead, how can you save them and torture them again? Grass. If anyone falls into your hands, they will be really unlucky for 8 lifetimes. Think of this. Ye Feng shivered. Because before he first entered the dungeon, he seemed to have some minor conflicts with Shen Jian. He was still thinking about revenge for his friends. Think about it now. Fortunately there is no practice. Thinking. Shen Jian glanced around. Asked, you have been here for how many days, what else do you know? See this. Ye Feng immediately explained, I have already told you the basic situation, but I just discovered the latest news. In addition to this abyss-level female corpse, I also discovered the whereabouts of 3 other abyss-level ghost kings on another street. From my observations over the past few days, it seems that the purpose of the other party's massacre was not simply to kill, but to collect the corpses of ghosts, as if they were performing some weird ritual. Hear this. Shen Jian was thoughtful. The 4 abyss-level ghosts are definitely the 4 generals under King Huai. From Ye Feng's description, there seems to be some deeper meaning behind this massacre. It's not just to break through the defense line of Yanjai Kingdom. Yan Luo, we have to go back and inform Queen Yanjai that the border town has been destroyed and the evidence of Prince Huai's rebellion has been conclusive. We can jointly resist this crisis by cooperating with Queen Yanjai. According to official historical records, the Queen of Evernight is the winner, and we are not without a chance. Ye Feng looked solemn. Place all your hopes on the Queen of Evernight. Because at this moment, only Yanjai Kingdom has the ability to withstand King Huai's attack. As for Shen Jian, his personal power is too small among thousands of troops. Not to mention that human bodies cannot control supernatural beings for a long time. Once trapped in a war encirclement, even if you can break out, the ghost will never wake up until the dungeon is over. Shen Jian glanced at the other party. Ye Feng's words are indeed the only solution. But he forgot the most important thing, time. In the official history, Queen Yanjai did defeat King Huai in the end, but the outcome was undoubtedly a loss for both sides. King Huai is dead. The kingdom of Yanjai was also defeated. And now, because of his intervention, King Huai's rebellion has been delayed by who knows how many years. At this point in time, Queen Yanjai was just a little emperor who had just regained some power, and had no background in confronting Prince Huai. This is a losing battle. Think of this. Shen Jian's eyes turned to the distance, and his smile gradually couldn't be concealed. By capturing the 4 generals in the city, I can also know what King Huai wants to do. Ye Feng. Damn it! Is this confidence or arrogance? He looked incomprehensible. Emotionally speaking, he was willing to believe that Shen Jian could lead them through this 5-star dungeon. Achieve unprecedented results. Be among the first players to clear the 5-star dungeon. But rationally, he knows that the player's side has no chance. Being able to instigate Yanjai Kingdom to fight with King Huai, and then they survive until the end of the war, is already the best outcome. It is basically impossible to turn things around. What else did he want to say? However, Shen Jian has gone far. Walking towards the other abyss-level ghost king he pointed at. This moment. Shen Jian's back looked so far away. Until it's out of sight. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 461. A small border town. 2 figures walked in the dead city, not seeing anyone along the way. Like a dead city. Ye Feng was cautiously on guard, but at the same time he did not forget to say, Yan Luo, when you turn this corner, you can see another abyss-level Ghost King. I remember that it was a little girl. Her supernatural powers were even more powerful than the scarlet female corpse just now. Be scary. I saw with my own eyes that while the little girl was crying for her mother, she opened a huge mouth like a bottomless pit and swallowed everything up. Speaking of which, Ye Feng's tone was inevitably scary. If the scarlet female corpse possesses rare and powerful supernatural powers, then what this little girl possesses is the weirdest supernatural power. Eat ghosts. The other party is suspected of being able to swallow the ghost and transform it into its own ability. At first, he observed the other party from a distance of hundreds of meters, but he was still affected by the supernatural power. Under that huge abyss mouth, there seems to be a magical power that confuses people's hearts. It will make people go out uncontrollably and actively become her food. Shen Jian looked as usual. Walk quickly. See this. Ye Feng wanted to cry but had no tears. Even if he knew that Shen Jian had the power to suppress abyss-level ghosts, there was also a contrast in strength between supernatural beings. Is it really okay to be so reckless? You know, there is a consensus in the paranormal community. That is, never underestimate the supernatural. A red-clad ghost may not be able to do anything to you, but if you are caught off guard, even a green-clad ghost can kill the player in an instant. Especially those murderous rules that require death. Once triggered, 4-star players may die violently. With Shen Jian's reckless behavior, it stands to reason that he would have died in the horror game copy. However, the reality is that Shen Jian has gone further than them on the road of controlling supernatural beings. Could it be that recklessness is the correct way to open a thriller game? Thinking. Shen Jian stopped. What's wrong? She found us. Hear this. Ye Feng's expression changed drastically. Eyes darting around. At last. On the roof not far away, I saw a little girl standing on the roof. The little girl's face was pale, her black eyes were devoid of any white, she had 2 ponytails, and she was holding a Qingtian doll in her hand. Strangely, there was a grimace on the Qingtian doll's face, similar to the little girl's. 80% similar, crying silently. It looks extremely penetrating. Brother, have you seen where my mother went? The little girl opened her mouth and was speechless for a while before squeezing out a few words from her throat. This moment, Ye Feng's scalp was numb. As the little girl said these words, an unwarranted supernatural pressure came over him, making his breathing quicken. He subconsciously looked at Shen Jian. I want to know how Shen Jian would deal with this situation. This was live teaching by the number 1 person in the paranormal circle, and he was looking forward to it very much. I want to learn 1.5 moves. At this time, Shen Jian looked the little girl up and down. He said thoughtfully, your horse is dead. Ye Feng? Little girl? Standing on the roof, the little girl frowned. Me? Do you think this is spoken in human language? How can anyone greet someone else's parents when they meet? This person is so lacking in quality. The little girl paused for breath, caressing the sunny doll in her hand and the human-skinned ghost face on it. The yin-qi fluctuations on her body became more and more turbulent, and her whole appearance seemed to have changed. She smiled sharply and said, she is dead, my mom is indeed dead, she was killed by me, and I want her to stay with me forever. Said. The supernatural power belonging to the abyss-level Ghost King completely exploded. The surrounding temperature began to drop sharply. Only the little girl's gloomy evil face was left. The other side. Ye Feng was also confused. No. Are you such a tiger? Does it do us any good to irritate the other party by attacking them personally when we disagree? He didn't understand Shen Jian's operation. This is no longer reckless, this horse riding is seeking death. He took back his previous words. Reckless is no longer enough to describe Shen Jian, this is clearly unscrupulous. At the same time, hearing the little girl's words, Shen Jian was a little surprised. You are so happy that you are dead. Little girl. The smile on her face suddenly stopped. Did this hanging man come specifically to make her angry? If you can't speak, just don't speak. The little girl stared at Shen Jian with malicious eyes, bared her teeth and said, I killed her with my own hands. Oh, you're dead. Shen Jian nodded. I personally took off her face and sewed it into the doll. The little girl's eyes were split. Well, you're dead. Shen Jian nodded playfully. You will also die later. I will bite your throats with my own mouth, devour your flesh and blood, sew your faces together, and stay with me forever. You're dead. That's enough, ghosts also want a bottom line. You're dead. I will give you one last chance to organize your language. You're dead. For a while, the scene became very strange. The little girl stood on the roof, trying to regain some advantage in words, but Shen Jian kept saying one sentence over and over again, directly hitting the opponent's pain. Still can't refute it? The little girl was so angry that her face turned green and purple, and the sunny day doll in her hand was almost crushed by her. Aside. Ye Feng. He stared blankly at this unique quarrel. Damn it! What are you two arguing about? Where is the terror of your abyss-level Ghost King? Where is your supernatural power? Why do you feel like you're being bullied? Is this still the abyss-level Ghost King that he fears in his heart? Ye Feng's face was filled with questions. His eyes were dazed. I just feel like the world is no longer normal. He looked at Shen Jian confused. The corner of his mouth twitched again. This Yama, after all, is also a 5-star player in the current paranormal circle. Why does the way he handles supernatural events be so ridiculous? He originally wanted to study. But now? What a waste of time to learn. This is not dealing with a vicious ghost. Isn't this just annoying people to death without paying for their lives? Apart from irritating the devil, he couldn't see any effect. Etc. Abruptly, Ye Feng seemed to have thought of something. Yan Luo is currently the only ghost master with the strength of a 5-star player. Such a person has experienced countless supernatural events. How could he not know that irritating a powerful ghost will cause all kinds of harm but no benefit at all? But the other party still did it? Maybe there was some deep meaning in this that he didn't understand? Think of this. Ye Feng restrained his strong desire to complain, observed the quarrel more carefully, and speculated on the deep meaning of Shen Jian's actions. That's all. Finally, the little girl's defenses were completely broken. This dog coin thing, no matter what she said, she would just reply with "you're dead" without changing her tone of voice. She's had enough. He threw away the sunny doll in his hand, his voice was sharp, and he couldn't help but curse, my horse is dead, what's wrong? I'll send you to see her now. At this moment, the little girl finally stopped pretending. I just don't have a horse, what's wrong? When she thought about it, her world suddenly opened up. The look he looked at Shen Jian became more and more sinister. You bitch, keep talking, I will eat you now and send you to see her. Said. The little girl opened her mouth like a bottomless pit. Shen Jian. Shen Jian. Come here. In a daze, Shen Jian seemed to hear a familiar voice. This voice is both familiar and unfamiliar. It was as if the voices of all the important people were mixed together before he let out this gibbering cry. Keep calling him. Haha, you can't even protect your horse, yet you dare to fight against me. Shen Jian chuckled. He directly ignored the bewitching effect brought by this voice. 5 fingers. Terrifying arcs of electricity converged, and bright white electric snakes lingered around the body. He made Shen Jian look like a god. Then, He pointed his palm at the furious little girl. Little girl. Her scalp was numb. Damn it. What the hell is this? It's just that she's not under her supernatural control. What does this mean? The little girl's face changed drastically. She never expected that Shenjian, who was having a great time chatting with her just a second ago, would attack so cruelly. How can anyone come up and use their ultimate move? Isn't this purely an attempt to persuade someone to quit? Think of this. Little girls too. She closed her mouth and jumped off the roof in a panic. However, late. Boom. Only an explosion was heard. Ah! The house where the little girl was standing was immediately exploded on the spot and turned into ruins. Buried under earth and rocks. The little girl stared with dead eyes and fell into despair. She didn't scold Shenjian until she died. Oh no, it was a big loss. The other side. Ye Feng was completely dumbfounded. His pupils were dilated, and his mouth was open enough to fit a fist into it. Kill the Abyss-level Ghost King in one blow? Damn it! Is this really normal? Besides, what's going on with this palm thunder? A series of doubts emerged in his mind. At this time, he realized belatedly that he seemed to have never seen Shenjian use supernatural power from beginning to end. I was in a daze for a long time. It wasn't until he saw Shenjian leaving that Ye Feng suddenly followed him. Was about to say something. The chat interface suddenly changed. Xiao He at Ye Feng at King Yama, boss, where have you been? Something happened in the palace. Ye Feng, what's going on? Xiao He, Queen Yanjai is mobilizing soldiers around the imperial city. According to the news I heard from several eunuchs in front of the palace, it is said that Queen Yanjai has known about King Huai's rebellion and is preparing to go to the small border town with her personal conquest. Most of the court officials left, and most of us were also in the procession. Xiao He, today's government is controlled by the Queen Mother. Ye Feng, isn't this quite normal? Xiao He, boss, the problem now is that someone in the court betrayed the news of Queen Yanjai's expedition. When we were moved in the ghost realm, we were suddenly stopped and fell into a larger ghost realm. Guess who we saw? Xiao He, it's King Huai. He has been waiting here for a long time, in order to defeat all the effective forces of Queen of Evernight and attack the imperial city at the minimum cost. See this. Not only Ye Feng was stunned. Even Shenjian was a little surprised. The opponent captured the small border town not to use it as a base camp and drive straight into the imperial city, but to use it as a trap to trap you. At this time, the Scarlet panel emerged. Side mission, Rebellion in the Kingdom of Evernight, changed. Task requirement, defeat King Huai. Note, this task is a forced selection task. Failure will result in the game ending. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the King of Hell of the 10th Palace. Author, Shi Buletin Chigua. Chapter 462. A scarlet panel emerged. At this moment, all the players collectively changed their minds. Defeat King Huai? What a joke. That is a true top ghost king, the highest level of terror in the Eternal Night Kingdom. If such an existence appeared in the real world, most cities would fall. And they are just a group of 2- and 3-star players, and there is no way they can complete this task. Thriller games don't give you a chance to survive at all. For a while, a large number of players panicked. Thriller game, I'm going to hum you like a fairy. It's over, it's over. I finally saw hope, but now it's all over. Damn it, let's have a group of 2-star and 3-star players challenge a top ghost king. I'm not even a ghost master. How is this different from encountering a big boss in a novice village? Grass. There was a great uproar. In the crowd. The player with the ID Xiao He finally calmed down after talking through the chat interface. Shouted, calm down, in fact, even without this mandatory selection task, our situation is not much better. The large army led by King Huai has already surrounded us. Once Queen Yanjai is defeated, the end is death. Hear this. All the players looked at each other speechlessly. Can't say anything to refute. Because it is. These unknown little eunuchs were all ordered by the Queen of Evernight to be sent into the army to serve as cannon fodder. At present, the information about Queen Yanjai's expedition was leaked, and she was blocked in an uninhabited county. The ghost realm could not move, and the city gate was heavily guarded by King Huai's troops. Once Queen Yanjai was defeated, King Huai rushed in. How can these players survive? The only way is to defeat King Huai. But the problem is back to square one. Who can defeat King Huai? Who can defeat the thousands of troops brought by King Huai? There's still hope, there's still hope. The player whose ID is Xiao He is very convincing. Don't forget, everyone, we also have King Yama among us. Everyone has seen his record. As long as he comes with support, we will still have hope. Hear the words. Many players' eyes lit up. Lord Yama, this is indeed the key to whether they can clear the 5-star dungeon. And Shen Jian's achievements are obvious to everyone. Solving the disaster in the city god's temple, the ghost infant easily crushed a ghost king level ghost infant during the attack on the city, and designed the Prime Minister Zhou, the top ghost king level, to kill him in the court hall. Any single incident would be enough to shock the entire supernatural world. Such a great god can indeed inspire people. However, one player murmured nervously, he is very powerful, but in this situation, is he really willing to come over and help us? Don't forget, we are now surrounded by heavy troops. Anyone who comes in will become a lamb to be slaughtered. What's more, can he change the outcome if he comes? Can he defeat King Huai? Or can he defeat the thousands of troops under King Huai? Don't forget, he is only one person. He is not a god. As soon as these words came out, the light in the player's eyes dimmed a bit more. There is a feeling of being exposed to facts and having hope shattered. This player's words nakedly showed them what cruel reality is. An atmosphere called desperation permeates the players. The player with the ID Xiao He opened his mouth. She wanted to say something, but when the words came to her lips, she was speechless. Because even he couldn't guarantee that Shen Jian would really come. As the player who was about to go crazy said, Shen Jian is not a god. When one finally runs out of energy. The other side. Look at the prompts on the Scarlet panel. Look at the information sent from the chat interface. Yafeng's pupils shrank. His first reaction was that he was lucky to have come to a small border town. After coming back to his senses, he immediately thought of staying here and not going anywhere. Even if the mission fails and is forcibly sent to a ghost town, it is better than stepping into a trap of no life. In his opinion, the Queen of Evernight has failed, and the Kingdom of Evernight is coming to an end. The fate of the country has been sealed. Even if there is another one of him, nothing can be saved. Then he looked at Shen Jian, preparing for the two of them to join forces so that even if they were sent to the ghost town, they would still have a chance to get out. Next moment, he froze. He saw that Shen Jian's attention was not on the game board, but staring in the direction of the Imperial City. A split second of effort. A ghost realm suddenly appeared. A tall and burly figure wearing blood-colored armor suddenly appeared. Next to him was a ghost-faced tiger demon with a tiger body and a grimace. Yafeng was shocked. That tiger demon was as terrifying as the scarlet female corpse he had seen. And the owner of the bloody armor was so terrifying that he had never seen him before. Top Ghost King. This is definitely a top Ghost King. The bloody armor, could it be General Shui, the right Prime Minister of Yanjai Kingdom? Thinking. Yafeng suddenly heard. Master, save me, my life is at risk. The ghost-faced tiger demon shouted, came to Shen Jian, rubbed against Shen Jian's thigh like a kitten, and cried miserably. My lord, King Huai sent 2 of the 4 generals to contain me, and also sent a general to kill me. I cannot stay by the emperor's side, so I can only come to you, lord. General Shui seemed more reserved. But the slightly bowed attitude was still full of flattery. Ye Feng? An abyss-level tiger monster that was no weaker than the scarlet female corpse kept calling for its master, looking like it was licking the tiger. The right Prime Minister of Yanjai Kingdom, a blood general at the top Ghost King level, is also calling Shen Jian sir flatteringly. This. What happened? What did he miss? While these players stayed behind in the palace, what else did Shen Jian do behind their backs? Ye Feng was stunned. I couldn't believe my eyes at all. I just feel like everything is too dreamy. At this time, 2 more ghost realms passed by. On the street in the distance, 2 more figures appeared. One old and one young. The old man's body was full of deathly aura, as if he had just crawled out of the grave, decayed, old and twilight. The boy's pupils were white, his arms were covered in spots, and his state of decay was even worse than that of the old man next to him. General Blood, Lord Huaiwang said that those who understand the current affairs are heroes. If you are willing to join Lord Huaiking, the position of the right Prime Minister is still yours. The rotten old man said in a hoarse voice. The corpse-spotted ghost also sneered, General Blood, today's Yanjai Kingdom is doomed to fail. Guarding such a puppet emperor will not do you any good. This is your last chance, otherwise the Yanjai Kingdom will be destroyed. This is the beginning of your eternal sleep. Hear this. General Shui's eyes turned malicious. He, the top Ghost King and the second most powerful force in the Eternal Night Kingdom, was actually threatened by 2 abyss-level ghosts. This is a great disgrace. The other side. Shen Jian also said, you can't beat me. Sir, they are naturally no match for me, but the 2 of them joining forces can temporarily restrain me under the superposition of supernatural powers. If the general who commands the generals of the 4 directions attacks again, I will probably fall into a long sleep. General Shui explained. After listening, Shen Jian glanced at the other party. Until General Shui bowed his head with a guilty conscience and broke out in cold sweat. The Lord seemed to have seen through his thoughts. As a top Ghost King, he naturally did not want to be buried with the young emperor. So they forced their way out of the encirclement and stayed away from the frontal battlefield. Fortunately, King Huai also felt that the attack would be smoother without a top Ghost King, so he did not stop him. He just sent generals from all directions to monitor his whereabouts and persuade him to surrender. For a while, the atmosphere seemed a bit awkward. At this time, the corpse-spotted ghost continued, General Blood, you broke out just to find 2 dog eunuchs? Do you think they can save the situation? Both of them are obviously dead. The corpse-spotted ghost changed his subject, and supernatural power swept over him. He locked onto Shen Jian and Ye Feng. The tone was faint, have you forgotten? We are 3 brothers. As the younger brother, I saw your bodies being carried back with my own eyes. The body was rotten at the time. It was eaten by wild dogs and dismembered. Only half of the head was left. It was such a miserable death. The words fell. Ye Feng's face turned pale. He felt bursts of cutting sensations in his limbs, neck, and left eye. It seemed that as long as he gently raised his hand, arm, and eyeball, he would fall off. It was really like what the corpse-spotted ghost said, it was torn apart and eaten by wild dogs, with only half of its head left. That's a curse. Supernatural curse. He looked at Shen Jian with horror on his face. Suddenly he was stunned. Shen Jian had a slightly sick look on his face and murmured, so that's it? I just said that I always feel like there is a missing piece in my memory. It turns out that I forgot that I have a younger brother. I came back today just to see you. Good brother, We are reunited after a long separation. Let me give you a hug. Shen Jian was on the body, arcs of lightning lingered, and thunder stung. Then, open your arms covered with thunder arcs and give the corpse-spotted ghost a fatherly hug. As the saying goes, an elder brother is like a father. Corpse-spotted ghost. Looking at Shen Jian walking towards him, he was dumbfounded. Grass. God, please give me a hug. Is this a question of holding one? This humming thing is going to kill him. The corpse-like ghost's eyes twitched. He was so frightened that he backed away. He had an intuition that if it was confirmed this time, it would be what he wanted. Wait, I remembered wrongly, I am not your brother, I am your friend. Yes, I am your friend. I watched with my own eyes as your body was dismembered, your heart was taken out, your limbs were dismembered, and your eyes were taken out. You should not be able to see clearly now. The corpse-spotted ghost changed his tone, but his tone remained gloomy. Describe Shen Jian's death in as much detail as possible. Shen Jian paused. Just when the corpse-spotted ghost breathed a sigh of relief, Shen Jian raised his head again, his expression gradually turning a little sickly. So that's it, you are my friend. Hello friends, I like making friends the most. A friend came from afar, whipped dozens of times, and drove him away from another courtyard. Said. The thunder arc in Shen Jian's hand flashed, and from a distance, it looked like a slightly short whip. Corpse-spotted ghost. Damn it! Why don't you listen to what you are saying? Who taught you this? He couldn't hold himself any longer. The body keeps retreating back. Just as he was about to continue changing his words, Shen Jian's whip had already been struck first. Sis. 10 thunder whips continuously hit the corpse-spotted ghost. There was no other sound except for screams. This moment, the whole place fell silent.